Okay, I got a gold star today. Does that mean tomorrow I will even try harder, be more motivated? What is the purpose of that star? Well, we need to look at this because this is a big and hot topic in the field of education. What does it take to motivate students, and where is the motivation coming from? So we talk about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is internal. It's that sense of self-reward. I'm willing to put in the effort, I'm willing to motivate myself because I just enjoy this topic. I will get to the end of this 600-page novel because I just like it, and I like to read, and I like to get to the end and learn something. I'm even willing to give up some comforts and pleasures because I am so internally motivated to do this thing. On the other hand, there's extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic meaning motivation is coming from an external source. The most cynical way of putting it is, I'll do the work when I know I can be rewarded properly for this. Of course, children don't talk that way, but it may not take much for them to start thinking that way if there's a lot of extrinsic motivation going on in terms of rewards. So, what does all this end up meaning in the teaching field? Well, a teacher would probably say, oh, I would love my students to be intrinsically motivated in every subject area all day long. My job would be so much easier. I wouldn't have to put out rewards and all that. Well, I would agree with that. But here's the thing. Because intrinsic motivation is internal, you can't give it. You can't give intrinsic reinforcement, intrinsic motivation. They're not things, they're feelings, they're inner feelings. But you can encourage or discourage that sense of inner wanting to be motivated to do something. And that's where we go back, you're looking at all these theories, and especially we go back and look at behaviorist theory, where it's all dependent on rewards. Well, what does that do? What does that end up meaning? What happens when you get kids, shall we say, hooked on external reward? Can you ever get them to move on to internal, intrinsic motivation? Perhaps you can, but please bear in mind, it's also possible that if students have intrinsic motivation and you apply a lot of external rewards to that, yes, you can kill the intrinsic motivation because now you've got them hooked into wanting a reward for something that they had previously done all on their own because of their own interest. So this brings us to realize that something may be convenient for a teacher to do, but it may not always be wise in the long run. And it's something really to ponder as you build a sense of how do I run a classroom and get students to be motivated and to get them to achieve and feel a sense of success. So, this ends up in a way bringing up more questions than answers, and I'm glad for that. I'll leave it at that. And you can go do the review material and the supplemental material and start pondering for yourself. How do I handle this business of intrinsic versus extrinsic? What will I do to make it possible for students to succeed without dangling something?